to Nerds, Geeks, and Gamers. Today I have with me Carlos.
Hey, party people.
And Raul.
Howdy, howdy.
We will be talking about two films today, both actually from this year, so 2024. The first one is Immaculate, and then the second one is I Saw the TV Glow. And I'm sure we all have opinions on both of them. But before we get into kind of talking about these movies, we typically like to talk about the shows that we've watched recently within the week. But before we do that, I'm going to put Carlos on the spot because he never answered my question. Have you ever done Pilates?
Well, I feel like I've answered the question, but I have not. But Sylvia, I do have a surprise for you. I'm actually gonna pull up a reverse card on you, and me and Raul are actually here to do an intervention on to sort of confront the reason why you're refusing to watch Arcane with us so that we can talk about it next week, So I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay. I didn't say I wouldn't watch it. I said I would give it up until episode 3. The first episode didn't make me want to watch more. Cyberpunk kind of grabbed me right away. Same with Demon Slayer, it grabbed me. Same with Death Note, it grabbed me. This one, I don't know what's off with it. I don't know if it's not so much maybe the art, but the coloring of it, or just something is off visually to me to where it's not appealing. It's not even the plot. The plot is fine to me. It's something that I'm seeing visually.
Which is crazy because I think that's what people were actually complimenting about the show, because I think it's a French studio that did this. And I think when it came out, I think people were actually like, hey, like animation can look this level of quality on streaming services. So I think that's like one of the things about it. I do kind of want to come here and be on your side though, because now that I've been able to watch up to I think I'm on episode 5 and I just started today. I did the first 2 episodes sort of kind of brought me back to the mentality you were in, where it's like, okay, because I've never played League of Legends. I have no stake in, I need to say this show's great because I'm a fan of League of Legends. I actually don't know anything about League of Legends. But I do feel like the first 2 episodes, you're sort of like that, like on the fence, like, why should I continue to watch this? It looks good, but it's not. There's so much going on. Am I really going to understand? But I am telling you, by episode 3, if you're not convinced enough to go into episode 4 right after, then I can tell then this is not going to be a show you're going to enjoy. But I think you should watch episode 3. And then if that doesn't get you to sort of watch the next 15 minutes of episode 4, then
skip 2 and just go to 3.
No, you got to watch 3.
I'm kidding, don't do that.
Just go to the final episode. Tell us your thoughts.
because it is like I think it is a slow burn. I think the show purposely kind of gives you a slow burn in the beginning by you feeling what the show's going to be about, and then the show kind of pulls the rug right under you. And I don't want to get into spoilers, but yeah.
No, I will say, I get it. But I think that they kind of had to do that because, even for me, I never played League until I saw the show, and then the show made me want to play League, and that's when I finally started playing League. And then, the show, honestly, the show and the game have nothing to do with each other except for the characters, and they have the kind of the power systems and the way that they're depicted and stuff like that. But I did like the animation and stuff like that. So, but I haven't done a rewatch, but I'm super looking forward to the next season that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, and I think because it's the second season's right around the corner. It's almost like, let's talk about it so that next week or whenever the second season, if it lives up to what the first season was, then we can also talk about that. But I really legitimately believe that you should, not you should, but this show is done so well that it's almost you telling me I can't watch, let's say, Forrest Gump because this is the first 15 minutes of it just wasn't my thing about eating chocolate, but knowing that Forrest Gump becomes an amazing movie towards the end of it.
But see, I understand the fact of the first, second episode are usually plot building, and that's what it was for Vox Machina, that's what it was for Cyberpunk, that's what it was for Demon Slayer, Death Note, even A Blue-Eyed Samurai. It's the plot building more so than just throwing you in there. It's just this one isn't catching me. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's the story. And I've played League of Legends prior to watching this. So I I'm coming from a background of I play League, so I know this character essentially, or Vi, but it's I don't know what's not clicking. Something's
No,
not clicking.
and you know what? That was my way of promoting our episode for the next time, because the next time we do record about it, it's going to be Sylvia versus Raul and Carlos shitting on Arcane. And, if that's what the episode turns into, like, I'm all for it,
Hey, I guess so.
because I respect people's opinions, and it is kind of nice because I've always been, again, I think Ramon or Raul has recommended things in the past where I don't really click with whatever they've recommended. So it's always nice for somebody to come in and explains where, like, with in a way where you're respectful, explaining the reason where the show falls short. So I would love for you to come in and tell me your thoughts, because I do respect your opinion, and I do think if you came in, you would have very smart thoughts as to why you couldn't resonate with this show.
So are you saying that Arcane would not be the reason why we all break up?
No, that's definitely not the reason why we would.
That's next episode, obviously.
To the next week.
What is the Beatles girl that started dating the one guy, and that's
Yoko?
Yoko. Till you meet your Yoko, Ro, we're not gonna break up anytime soon.
Oh my gosh! I'll finish watching it for sure if you actually play League with us.
Oh yeah, I'll play League on the phone. Is that what, dude? First of all, I love those kind of games. So so the joke's on you.
It's and I like jungle too, so no one has to worry about playing jungle because I love playing Eve or Evelyn. I love playing her. So
no, seriously, you got me excited. Like, you've been trying to get me excited about playing a game together. Like, League, let's go. Like, I might not know much about it, but I know the basics enough to like really get into it.
All right, so the Arcane episode, we're gonna have to do a little snippet of us proving that we played League together.
There's more Ash or Morgana or surfing.
Yeah, man, now we're getting off topic, but there's a Pokemon game that's like same concept, like League of Legends, where it's just kind of like you go and destroy diamonds.
Really?
Yeah, and it's really good. I was really addicted to it, but nobody else from our friend group at the time would play it.
Is it mobile or PC or what?
It's on the phone, but I like playing it on the Switch, so I gotta look it up and let you guys know about it. It's like maybe we can play that one instead. It's more simple and I think funner.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Now that we have Arcane out of the way, because you thought that you were gonna flip and do a 180 on me here, you need to try Pilates one day.
Dude, absolutely. Get me that free pass for a Sunday afternoon class, and I'm down.
That is the most painful and excruciating workout that you will do. And even just floor Pilates. I remember doing floor Pilates once, and I started shaking so bad, I just fell. But it's good. It's a good workout.
No,
but it's a lot.
No, trust me. I will exploit the one free pass class. Yeah, and go check it out.
So now that we have that all out of the way, shows that we've been watching. Raul, since you've been a little bit quieter with our little tangent here, what have you been watching?
So today I actually finished watching Inside Out 2 for the first time.
Oh, great. Okay. Good movie.
With my son, and I cried because my son's growing up and he's gonna. We had this argument. He's saying that he has complex feelings, and I'm telling him that no, not yet. But then it made me sad.
Don't hold on to him, or else long legs will come for you.
No, I'm gonna hold on to. I don't care. No. But so we watched that, and then I have a problem. I've been addicted to Ace of the Diamond, which is the anime, the stupid baseball anime. I blame Jose, our friend, because it's a sports anime about baseball, primarily this pitcher, kind of starting high school, and like it's, if you're not a sports anime person, you're not going to be into it because every game is like a few episodes. So season 1 is like 60 something episodes. But they actually go past 1 year of school apparently. But I'm still in the first year. They're still like in the summer tournament. But it's kind of everything that you want in a sports anime. So if you're into them, it's awesome. If you're not into sports animes, then you're probably not gonna like it.
Cool.
But yeah. and I've been neglecting everything else besides the weekly animes. Like I haven't seen Dan Da Dan
I haven't seen
yet,
none of
but
I haven't either. Yeah.
oh, and I still gotta watch the weddings for Love Is Blind, Sylvia.
Yeah. We have to figure out who got married, which I did see a spoiler with
I
one of the
know.
couples.
I saw a dress, so
yeah,
at least that one got to the
man.
altar.
Yeah. But I did see. So I saw someone that didn't get to the altar. Yeah.
Besides the ones that were already new from last week.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So
Very cool.
that hit me pretty hard to the point where, you know what? I won't even say anything.
Yeah. Guys, if you want to be part of the Love is Blind conversation with Raul and Sylvia,
Are we gonna start a new channel in the Discord?
Join our Discord. It's
Blind.
right there. You tell us who got married, who didn't get married.
No, don't tell us yet.
No, we gotta watch it.
Yeah. I think this is the last episode before the reunion, and then the reunion is next week, and that one is going to be
weird.
intense. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've been seeing all those TikToks from everybody.
Oh
and
yeah,
their
I
mama.
can't wait from that one couple with the fact that he lied about the three
The
kids
kids?
and all. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Carlos is like,
I don't know. Yeah.
On that note, what have you been watching, Carlos? If Raul is all done.
No, so I try to limit myself to maybe only bring two of what I think is things mentioning to the, especially because if not, I'll just continue to talk about Peaky Blinders because I'm still watching that. But I watched this movie that came out on Netflix, I believe last Friday. It's called The Shadow Stray. I was talking about it on our Discord, recommending it to people.
Yeah, it's on my
And
list.
It's a movie where a director, where his last movie was really was talked about a lot on Netflix. I never saw it. It's like It Comes at Night or something like that. But it's also it's supposed to be like a really amazing kung fu fighting sort of movie. And that's exactly what the Shadow Stray is. It's this super violent John Wick style ninja movie that when you first watch the first 15 minutes, it's incredible. Like the fighting scenes are incredible. Everything that's going on is incredible.
Kind of like old boy style.
No, not even like Old Boy. It really reminds me of maybe The Raid a little, but it really does remind me of like a movie from the 90s. But it's just it's double R. Instead of just being R rated, it's double R rated. Because because the assassins, not to get spoiled or because right in the beginning they tell you they're women. Dude, when they assassinate people with a gun, it's not like John Wick style, he shot him once, he's down. Like they'll shoot him 5 times in the head, and you're seeing each piece of the head blow off every time. So it's that level of gory. And then the movie is
kind of like Immaculate.
I don't know. Maybe we saw different versions of Immaculate. But yeah, so it's super high. It's super violent. It's the kung fu, the fighting is incredible. I really think The Shadow Stray it's gonna be on my top 10 of the year because it was that.
Is it kind of like Guillermo del Toro type of gore?
No, it's because it's kung fu, it's fighting John Wick. So it's just again, you get blasted by a shotgun. You're not just seeing the guy fall back. You're seeing a piece of the guy being ripped completely off as the bullets hitting him. So it's really crazy. Again, if you watch the first 15 minutes of it, I think you'll get enough to say this is for me or not for me because right away it starts with a Kill Bill sort of style fight scene. So again, highly recommend The Shadow Stray on Netflix. And then the other thing that I've been watching is there's a animated show that came out last Thursday, I believe, or Wednesday or last week, but it's a Gundam animated show. It's 6 episodes, and I really enjoy that because it's done in a way, in the perspective where I don't know much about Gundams, but I know typically the good guys, I believe, are the ones piloting Gundams, but it's done in a way where I think you're following what's meant to be the Evo Empire or people that are soldiers on the Evo Empire, and you're seeing the show through their perspective, and there's this goddamn Gundam that just comes in. They've never seen a Gundam. And Sylvia, if you don't know what a Gundam is, it's like a giant, beautiful looking white robot that can just kick so much ass. It's just even if you can't say positive things about all the Gundam shows because there's so many variations that's been going on for the last 40 years, the Gundams themselves, they've always just looked amazing. So anyways, it's through their perspective.
Kind of like a Megazord.
Yeah, like
if
a
you
giant
ever watch
Megazord.
Power Rangers.
Yeah. So it's through their perspective, and they're just getting their ass whooped by this Gundam. So it's almost like a Jaws situation where the Gundam is the shark, and everywhere they fucking go, the Gundam is just following them. And destroying them. So I really like that. I really like that perspective. But it's like, damn, this could have been a show where you're following the Gundam pilot. It's all about him going up against incredible odds, but instead it's being through the eyes of the underdog and how are they going to defeat this Gundam. So it's really cool. 6 episodes.
That's
I
cool.
actually really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend. And that's the 2 things that I wanted to highlight.
That's interesting. Are they running away from it then, or like trying to hide from?
Yeah. So it's like, the battle starts. They think they're winning, and then the Gundam shows up, and they're just constantly like, we gotta move from this position to this position, and the Gundam just keeps like following them, and it's like, damn.
So like on the run almost.
Yeah, they're on the run,
really
and they're trying to like come up with ways to like either build like a, for lack of a better word, Megazord themselves, but it's not as advanced as the Gundams. It's like the Gundam itself is just, again, this beautiful robot that just has this technological more superior to like any other of the current robots. It's really cool. Again, if you're a fan of Gundam, or maybe you're trying to be like get into it, like I really would recommend that show because it's only 6 episodes, and it's
that sounds really interesting. The show itself.
I liked it. So I
didn't know what the premise was. I thought it was just like another Gundam type of show because I don't remember. I might have seen some Gundam episodes in the past at some point, but like I never really got into Gundams. But like I did watch other like mech animes and then La Pacific Rim and all that stuff. So I like the premise that you're explaining, so maybe I'll actually watch it.
Yeah, give it a chance.
Made me want to watch it. Yeah.
Let me know. Again, I didn't think the animation was bad at all, and I just thought it was a really interesting way of putting this property that's been around for the last since like the 70s. Gundam is very, very famous.
I know Netflix thinks that I'm gonna like it, so Netflix wouldn't lie to me.
Never. No, just like YouTube wouldn't. Right? All the suggestions.
What about you, Sylvia? What have you been watching?
So here's my thing. Other than my usual All-American, I have not really been watching anything, but I have more so been gaming this time around.
Oh, nice.
So I mentioned to you guys Medieval Dynasty, and I also mentioned Manor Lords, which are both kind of more medieval games or more old-timey games. But I believe Medieval Dynasty is more of a survivor game, so think The Forest ish, but not as creepy with those guys kind of coming at you or those bodies. And then Manor Lords is like SimCity, but it's more of back in the past. I've been playing Sunnyside, which is kind of like a farming simulator, but it's more based off of a Japanese town again. I'm still playing Cyberpunk. Those have been the 4 main ones that I've been playing, but I've also gone back to Sims just because they had a brand new update and they have a pack coming out. So I've been getting kind of back into that as well. So I've done more gaming this week.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's Sims. What would you describe that Sims is doing today that's really pushing the boundaries of the Sims that like I grew up with in the early 2000s?
My sister plays a ton of it, so I hear about it periodically.
Yeah, but I will say Sims 3 is superior. I just have to figure out how to get some of my expansions into it.
Yeah.
Sims 3 did something a little bit different than a lot of the other Sims games did, which was but it made it more difficult to run. So I do want to compliment the team that created Sims 4 because they made a game that most people can run on their computers regardless of if it's a gaming computer or not a gaming computer. They're able to run it because of how it's done. And it's done with when you're in one location and then when you want to go to another location, it has to reload the game essentially. But it makes it easier for computers. Sims 3 did something different where everything was open world. So you could go wherever you wanted. You could have 5 different Sims doing 5 different things. Instead, with Sims 4, it's if you leave with one Sim, those other Sims you can't control anymore. So Sims 3 was better in that sense, but not a lot of people could run it. And when they came out with their last expansion, which was Isla Paradiso, that one had an underwater kind of scenario where you could scuba dive essentially, and it was a whole different world underneath. So imagine you're having one whole different world in the water and then one world up on top, and that broke everyone's computer just about.
Oh wow. See, that's the problem I had with Sims. I tried running it back in like 2008, whatever version was out, and my computer, I mean, it just couldn't keep up with it. So it's like there wasn't much enjoyment to it. But it just like seems like all the games you're playing, honestly, I get scared of them because they all seem right about the things that I grew up with and the things that I get addicted to. And the last thing I need in my life is to be worrying about like
I
fake,
know.
like another
into a
fake
game.
life when I have like real dogs, real daughter,
fake
real
life.
like like a real life. So it's like that's the last. So I get a little bit nervous. Like we were talking about addiction earlier, but sometimes that
That's
does
the
become a little bit of
addiction.
an addiction.
Yeah.
That's my I only have 2 hours of sleep sometimes because I'm gaming all night long, and it's because you do want to do all your things in real life that you have to do. So I have a dog too. I have to take him out. I don't have kids, but obviously you have that you have to do. But then it's anywhere from like 10 when everyone goes to bed. This is what I'm doing. I'm just gaming, and then it's 2 a.m. and I have no idea how the time passed.
No, I mean,
that's the reason I don't play Civilization, because like
oh my gosh, you would love Manor Lord though.
I know, like I'm scared. But that's also that's the reason why I never played WoW, because I know that like I would just go.
Oh, my life would be gone.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I played Cult of the Lamp earlier this year, and like same thing.
It looks so cute,
dude. If I didn't go in there, those people would either start eating each other, stop worshiping me. Some of them would have started like. So I had to go in there, like give them their daily prayers, or else they're gonna no longer be following me. So it was just kind of But I beat it, and then once I beat it, I felt released from the cult.
So it really was the Cult of the Lamb, huh?
It was.
Dang. Yeah, no. Which Medieval Dynasty is a game that you can have up to 4 players. So we got to force Carlos to play with us.
No, I mean you heard me. I got my ultimate.
We gotta find a fourth.
Yeah, you got your pass.
I got my ultimate pass, so I can download stuff, and it's the end of the month, so.
Yeah. See.
My internet cap. I can start. Doing the math.
It's kind of like your allowance.
You know what though, Carlos? I promise you, when we came back from Colorado, I got an email from T-Mobile, and it said that we almost used all of our data. And I was like, "What do you mean?" There's they have a cap on it. I have unlimited data, but they had a cap, and it just reminded me of you with your internet.
That's funny. I think they feed you the good speed up to a certain point, and once you go over that unlimited, that's when they start giving you the crappy speed.
Yeah, I think what happened was on our drive there at one point when I started driving, I turned on my my internet on my phone to connect to my Switch to download a game. And I think that's what did it.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
I think that's what did
it. Tethering.
I promise you, when they were thinking about like that, they were never thinking like they would be able to power up their Switch.
Hey, I was trying to play Hogwarts and I needed to download it back on my Switch, so
oh my god,
that's what I've used my phone for.
I like that. Yeah, way to think outside the box.
Hey, that's my addiction, right? Just gaming. So now that we have all of that covered, though, let's finally talk about the movies. So Immaculate and the 2 movies that we watched, if we all remember them. So we have Immaculate, and I saw the TV Glow. We'll start with Immaculate because I feel like there was a lot more to it. And then Carlos also told me to start with Immaculate, so I'm going to go with what he said.
All right. Yeah, no.
It was more mainstream. The other one was just weird.
For sure.
Yeah, again, we're back to like a long legs versus oddity situation.
Not even. This is even different.
Can't even compare. Yeah. You have Sydney Sweeney, who is the main actress in this movie, which I was surprised to know that she was actually 16 when she first auditioned for this show. And
for the show?
Mm-hmm. So in the movie, I'm sorry, in the movie. So she was 16 when she auditioned for the movie. Some things just weren't clicking with it, so they didn't film it actually. And then she actually became one of the directors or producers, on the movie, which is why she was able to make it kind of come true, like her dream come true of this movie. But it was interesting to know that she actually wanted to have this role when she was 16. So that's kind of my little fact of it, but I would love to hear kind of what you guys think of the show. And I feel like Raul is pondering about something, so maybe I'll start with him.
No, because it's so if she was 16, like I think the movie still would have worked, but like in completely different ways if she would have actually filmed it while she was 16.
16, yeah. She's 11. She's 27 now.
Oh wow.
It took that long to make the movie? I thought she was still like in her early 20s. I don't know.
Yeah, which you have to know that like the movie itself, it draws a lot of, and you guys had me texting about this too, it draws a lot of the correct things that happen with the Catholic Church and then things that don't. So I feel like a lot of that pushback was because it was so mainly focused on religion. And you know how sometimes people get pushy in regards to that.
No,
So
not with religion.
Never. Not in America, right?
Especially not the Catholic Church.
No, never.
I
Absolutely
feel like
not.
every 2 years there's a horror movie that's sort of like, whether it's Exorcist related or the
Exorcisms and-
But I
non,
will
but there's
say,
always something.
this
Yeah.
movie specifically for me, and I did enjoy it, but this movie for me, they were singing all the songs that I typically do, and I go to church, so everything that they were doing was exactly like I was hearing them saying these things, even
Well-
speaking in like the terms that I normally hear my priest speak in, and I was staring at it like I'm not in church right now, am I?
You're from Michigan, where she was from in the movie, so you guys
Yes,
probably were
yeah.
part of the same church.
Yeah, obviously.
The exact same church.
Yes, yep, the same one. Yep.
So probably your church is the one that closed down
Yeah.
because you didn't go enough.
Honestly, there were 2 churches that closed down.
Oh, and she's gone. Oh, there she is.
Or was she
Sorry,
ever really here?
I just cut you off, Raul. Continue.
No. I don't remember. No, but it definitely. So I know, or if I remember correctly, I'm not a theologian. But like the Virgin Mary, she was like in her teens, wasn't she?
Yes. Yeah. She was. Yeah. She was younger.
Yeah.
Or
So
actually,
I
you know what? You're right. Because I believe she was around like 16-ish, like 16, 17.
yeah, 15, 16, yeah. But like at the time that was kind of the norm anyway. But
yeah, but that's me agreeing with you saying that movie would have been different if she was 16 because it would have worked.
Yeah. So like I think that would have made it interesting, especially because of the fact that that's not really the norm anymore. But the fact that like a 16-year-old is like miraculously getting pregnant, in this situation, what kind of fits into the whole narrative with the movie. So I think it would have changed it a little bit in a very interesting way. But like either way, like I don't know what it is about Sydney Sweeney that like it's because I don't necessarily think that she's like prettier than every girl out there or whatever, but like for some reason she has this like draw that like makes, I don't know if it's like charisma or personality or what it is. She just kind of draws you to it, and like I don't know why. I don't know how this movie would have gone with a different actress. But it's kind of the exact same thing as The First Omen, because I did see The First Omen either earlier this year or last year, and it's pretty much the same story except differently.
Yeah.
But like it's I don't know how to compare the two, besides saying that they're both similar. But it's I don't know which one I would say I liked better.
Like both of them came out in 2024, and I almost, after I saw Immaculate, I almost wanted to say like, hey, let's do the First Omen versus Immaculate, because of the fact that they're so much alike. And I do think the first Omen is superior. I think the scares are a little bit more creative, the story's a little more creative. It's already moving on the fact that it's an existing franchise. The Omen is a franchise that has also been around since a prequel to the Omen. Well, but the thing Ro, I was agreeing with you about right now as you were speaking your thoughts. Like, yeah, it would have been interesting if she would have been pregnant when she was 16, because the movie does make it a point to say that like this girl has never had intercourse. And I think for a 20-year-old to not have had intercourse, that's a little bit hard to believe. But if you would have been a 16-year-old, like that's totally possible. Like, yeah, why would a 16-year-old?
Us Catholics are completely celibate. What do you mean?
No.
And
no,
that's why I was up until I decided to not get confirmed.
Yes.
And I do agree with you about her. There's just something to her. As I was watching the movie, I was almost thinking like every nun in this church, the young ones especially, I was not thinking of them as like nuns, but as actresses. And some of them, like, they were beautiful. Some of these actresses were playing nuns. And I was thinking like, I wonder if they're having that same thought you just said, Ro. Like, that should be me playing that role because I'm prettier, I'm taller, I could totally have, maybe they feel like they have better acting skills. But there's just something about Sydney that you just really do want to root for her and you like her.
Mhm.
And that's right now what's happening in this year, that people just found out that, like, for some reason, if you put her on a project, people are gonna go see the movie and actually spend bucks, and
Mhm.
people are rooting for her. So it's just like, yeah, like, I don't know what it is, but I'm also like rooting for her, and it could be because I liked her from Euphoria, but I'm like legitimately like rooting for her.
I never saw Euphoria though. You know what? I think it might partly be the fact that she kind of seems normal, but like I don't know. I can't even explain it, but she just has this draw to her. I think.
will say Sydney is extremely intelligent. From what I've been able to read about her, she took a lot of advanced math courses. She was valedictorian in high school. But the one thing that back in like the Euphoria days and on my TikTok feed, I would see her actually rebuilding a whole hot rod, I think it was. So you can just tell like how insanely passionate she is about the projects that she does. And I think we see that in this movie, especially because she is a producer and she's wanted this movie since she was 16, so you can see her passion almost playing out in it. But I feel like she does that. Even the rom-com movie that she did with Glenn, right?
Glenn Powell.
Yeah,
because I liked her in that too.
Yeah, she was good.
She's a great actress, and I think a lot of it too is how she speaks as well, because a lot of the actresses, you find them trying to inflect their voice or their tone to make them seem like, I don't know. Typically, women tend to inflect their tone, but she doesn't. She keeps it very just like almost stoic in a sense, and I love her. And no matter what she's in, I always love it.
No, it's funny because our podcast does have another host that he hasn't been around for a while. But I was thinking, I'm like, which one was it?
Wait, it does? I'm kidding, Romano.
Michelle? Oh.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. But I was thinking, I'm like, because we went through a period where every episode somehow we would mention Sydney. And I always remember one of us didn't have the nicest things to say about it. I think that was Ramon. So
that wasn't me.
I almost wish he was here to, again, say the reasons why he doesn't like her. He finds her annoying, doesn't believe in her acting like skills. But to me, when I watched this movie...
He doesn't believe she exists?
She's not real.
Because when I watched this movie, I took it more as like an audition for somebody. Because Sylvia, last week you mentioned how like there's a picture out there of this where she got super buff. She looks like a completely different person because she's going to be
she's going to play the boxer.
But fun fact, she has been doing MMA fighting since she was 12 years old. So this isn't new to her either. No. She's just bulking up, but she's so incredible with her talents.
But I'm saying, like, I think Immaculate, to me, what really, what I found impressive about it is that her performance was believable. She did a great job.
Yeah.
You could have thought about her in this sort of movie and been like, oh my God, it's going to take me out. It's going to be laughable. But she never did. And I think this is the movie where you tell somebody, this is the movie where you tell somebody like, hey, if you're doubting her acting skills, just watch this movie where she carried the whole movie, even if it was for like an hour and 28 minutes. She carried it.
Yeah, dude, I feel like anything she's in, I feel like she does deliver. What she's meant to deliver, you get it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like I think kind of across the board, it's a case because like so her friend that she makes there, like I know I mentioned that she kind of reminded me of Camila Cabello, which apparently you're not a big fan of. but Carlos like mentioned that's the girl from The Witcher.
It is,
like,
right?
Yeah, and it, like I knew that she looked familiar, but I couldn't like put my finger on it until he mentioned it. And then, but like she does a good job too. And then even the priest, the big priest guy,
Father Sal, the handsome.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. Yeah,
Saul.
Yeah. But yeah, like he played his role like pretty well. Like I think everything kind of just works in this movie. But yeah, like definitely Sydney Sweeney carries the whole thing. So if you're a fan of her, then you're gonna like the movie.
Yeah. I mean, now that we want to move a little bit past kissing and washing Sydney's feet, I do want to mention, like, the movie ended, I was never really sure of when they impregnated her with, spoilers, but that's the whole plot of the movie, that they're taking these
it's when she
women
when she drank the wine and she passed out.
Is that it? But they never really made it a point to really like let you know this happened. It was more like she passed out and maybe she had a dream.
She kind of had those flashes.
She had
I
flashes.
think the moment though where they showed her, I think it was the knife, right? And they were like, we found the blood, and then I remembered, oh my god, wait, from the very beginning when she first walked in, she had there was that person that was laying on the ground, and it is a praying form that people do. Yeah. She was laying on the ground and she had like that. She had the red veil thing. That I don't know. Maybe it is. Don't quote me on that, please. No one quote me on that. But
no, I'm quoting you.
But she was laying on the ground, and then the other nun came up to her and she was like, oh, like this is like an artifact or whatever. She showed her it, and I think that's when they kind of knew that she was they almost brought her in knowing that this is what they wanted from her. But then when he showed her the knife, that's when it kind of confirmed, okay, so when she was drinking that night and then she just she passed out, she couldn't remember anything except for these little snippets. That's definitely when it happened.
Oh man, and again, so I almost wish you had seen the first order, because I'm telling you, and I meant to make a list, but every once in a while, like 2 movies will come out in the same year and they're almost identical. It kind of happened with
The Prestige and The Illusionist.
Or the Jungle movie. What is it?
The Jungle Book and the
other Jungle Book and Disney. Yeah, same. But it's just like, it's so crazy because I feel like I don't know. It's either one of them stole the plot from the other, or they were both being created at the same time. But you mentioned one of them has been in production for like the past 10 years. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's really weird. I know, again, we're not here to talk about the First Omen, but it's just like, that's what happens. That's what, like, the whole point, like, this story in First Omen is the same thing. It's like the same thing. Like, they come in,
except like minor differences.
Yeah, like in the First Omen, they're actually trying to birth the Antichrist. Where in here, I don't think
they're
that's
in Spain,
all
aren't
of
they?
it. In the First Omen, they might be.
Yeah,
actually, no, Rome. They're in Rome.
Maybe
here in this movie, I don't know where they're at. I think in this movie they might be in Spain.
In this one, they're in Italy. Everyone's talking Italian.
Okay,
but
that's
yeah, like it's
Vatican and all of that.
No, yeah, it's a whole thing, and the girl's trying to save because I think does she have more than one baby? I don't remember, but she's trying to save the baby. But in this one, it's kind of the opposite, where Sydney Sweeney is trying to get rid of the baby because Sydney Sweeney thinks that's the Antichrist.
Well, I think if like the baby would have been born normal at the end of the movie, like she probably would have saved it or ran away with it. But I think she saw what was born, and that's why she put a rock over it.
How do you feel about the fact that they didn't really show the baby?
I mean, they made the noises, or the sound alone.
They showed it for like 2 seconds when she was grabbing the rock, and you saw. Yeah, I don't think the baby.
But it was kind of far away though, and it was all like red and covered with like blood and stuff.
And first of all, she didn't birth the placenta, so I really hope she figured that situation out. Second of all, though,
she cut it with her mouth.
You know what? She's a strong woman, but
strong, independent woman.
Yeah, she didn't even need a doctor; she did it herself. But I feel like for her, though, it was just getting rid of the reminder, not necessarily that there was anything wrong with the baby, because everything led to it would have been normal.
Well, yeah, because they were doing the scans, and they never pointed out like, oh, the baby, like there's an extra limb or a tail or a horn.
Horns or...
But I think once the baby was born, there was definitely clues to believe that she just kind of, whatever she gave birth to wasn't 100% human. So,
I don't know. I just think she never wanted the baby.
Oh, no, the baby's a redhead. I'm kidding.
Oh, no, I bled on him and he's red. Disgusting. I don't know. I felt like the whole movie, she almost just didn't want the baby.
Yeah.
So when it was finally born, she just thought to herself, like, so much has happened. I don't want to remember this. I'm just going to kill it, leave it. It's gone.
Yeah. I think it was a little bit, again, the point of this movie is that the priests are trying to have her give birth to the second coming of Jesus. So I think if they would have been a little bit more like, let her out of there and go to a normal hospital, own up to the thing, like, we don't know how this happened, it's a miracle, like everything would have been fine. But just the fact that they're just like, don't tell nobody, keep her inside, don't let her out. I'm like, okay, well now you're just opening up yourself for her to be like, what is really happening?
Well, I think that was kind of the point. Like, the point was to make them seem kind of like very radical, very intense, and very like devout in what they thought was the right thing. And I think that like on purpose for the movie, but yeah, like in real life, what the logical thing would have been, it doesn't really come into play. It's kind of like what serves the movie the best, and people that are kind of this far where, because like the priest guy, like the geneticist priest guy, like he's kind of devoted his whole life to this because he thinks that this is his purpose in life. He thinks that kind of like him creating the second coming is what he's supposed to do. But kind of in this, you're supposed to kind of see that like that maybe his like motivation isn't right, or maybe he has some other issues or whatever it is. So it's meant to kind of show that this is kind of building up more of the suspense, and it's kind of making him more clear as the bad guy, because but especially in movies, the bad, like a very irrational bad guy is not going to necessarily be all that bad, and they typically don't depict a very rational bad guy in most movies anyway.
I would counter what you're saying with not that this is his life's purpose, but he just wants the recognition for it.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
I do get that. Yeah, I did sense like some selfishness.
He wanted to prove that he was able to do this, which is something that no one else has ever been able to replicate or do, and he's been able to perfect it to the point where he has now created a child, which again, to the point that you guys were saying, or Carlos, that you were saying, maybe she killed it because she noticed what she had given birth to. Maybe you're right, because now that I'm thinking about it, he had all those tubes of all the failed ones, right?
The fetuses,
and now he said, I finally perfected it, but he's never perfected it to the point where someone has carried out the child for that long of a time to give birth to it.
Oh man, so yeah, no, it's kind of giving me the creeps a little bit thinking about it. But I also, with the movie, she had the one friend that we mentioned from The Witcher. I do think once she's open about like, hey, are you guys all like blind? Like, how are you
Jennifer?
guys like not? Yeah, Jennifer. And then like, she gets taken away, and then she finds her where they're like punishing her. I don't know why she wasn't more open to that also. Like, I don't know, man. Are you gonna tell me that every nun in this institution is not like they all know what's going on? They're all up for it. None of them are gonna be like questioning. Like,
not the new ones.
Yeah. No, she played that so wrong. If I saw that, I think it was Sister Mary. If I saw that they were doing that to my friend, they're not going to kill me. I'm carrying the Immaculate Child. They're not going to do anything to me. Nothing that's going to actually like hurt me. So at that point, I would have run in. I would have made such a ruckus. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Like they're not gonna kill me though. That was my whole thing. They only did that to hope that she wouldn't walk on her legs for that long, right? So she couldn't run away.
Yeah.
So I would have made such a ruckus that everyone would have ended up hearing what was going on. And then you're right, the younger nuns that were there were probably experiencing some of these oddities, and even some of the older ones were probably just so over it that more people would have come in to help.
Because I'm like, I gotta believe that this place is getting like daily deliverables of food, milk, whatever. So I'm like, somebody would have been noticing it, like, hey, half the covenant is
unless only the priest goes to get the stuff, the supplies.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Because, but you also kind of have how everyone started acting differently towards Cecilia. Because like they started calling her like Saint Cecilia and all that stuff, and like whenever she walked into rooms, like they would all stand up and kind of like
follow me. I'll
praise her and revere her and all that stuff. Like if it was a real like miracle kind of thing. So I also wonder if like in a, not brainwashing, but like in a way kind of like brainwashing of like everyone that's in this like not a monastery but like whatever the.
But I'm saying, like Sylvia was saying, like you could have used her being pregnant, people believing this, to be like, hey, I am pregnant. I am going to give birth to the second coming of Jesus. Like, what they're doing, what they just did to my friend, like that's not what we're here for. We need to walk out. You need to help me. And like, I think somebody secretly would have been like, okay, we need to like get this girl to safety because something's not right of what's happening.
Or even some of them might have not even know the secret of how she became pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So some of them must have actually felt like, oh,
most of them.
I have to follow her because this is what she's saying, and now, like, for lack of a better term, screw the priest. We have someone that's giving birth to Jesus. I'm going to follow her.
No, absolutely. That's what it is. If that's my belief and I have to protect this girl and she's telling me, and I saw that her friend got taken in front of everybody and nobody can tell us where she is.
I mean, they hate how she didn't try to save her.
I know. I thought it was I thought it was messed up, especially at the end when you do find out, like, damn, they like not only ripped her, like, cut off her tongue,
she did nothing to stop the
nothing. No. Yeah. And she let them take her away. I would have stood up to them and been like, no, you're gonna leave her alone or I'm jumping off this balcony.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
I think the smart thing would have been to burn the whole place down. Like, manage a way of starting a fire and control it enough where...
And kill all those nuns.
Not kill the nuns, but, I mean, there's a fire department, right? Eventually, somebody has to come and, put the fire out. I don't know, just, again, like, I like her plan of making it seem like she was bleeding out, because I believed it myself, but, again, it's just, I think there were other options.
She should have hid the chicken better.
No, like, because I was thinking about that, like, why did she just put the chicken, like, under her bed? Like, I don't know, that seemed kind of like, that seemed very dumb.
Like, yeah. It was a smart idea with what she did. She just didn't complete it correctly. No. But then also, how is it that they were so much faster than, I guess she was pregnant, so she can only run so fast. You know what? I take it back. I answered my own question there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she could have played it out better, or if she didn't play it out better to leave, she could have at least played it to the point where, well, I'm the Immaculate one right now. You guys need to follow what I'm saying, and what they're doing right now is not right. And she should have just played it off that way.
Yeah, in the whole movie, she just kind of like portrayed herself as like this weak woman. Because I think that's even how that one strong nun that she's like, I deserve, this should have been me, like, saw her.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, and the way she just threw herself. Yeah, go ahead, Ro.
Did you guys find it weird how they, like, shower, like, bathed in those, like, white robes? Or, like, those... was it just me, or was it weird that they... I found it weird, like, why are they, like, they're bathing, but they're wearing something in order to bathe?
From having a grandma that, was very old when we would go swimming in the river, and how she would go swimming in, like, her whatever, like, she was wearing underneath her whatever, like, not even a bikini, like, whatever. Again, my grandma being 70, I don't know if it's more normal, man. Like,
it is normal. It's like their swimsuit, because they're supposed to conform to being not
modest.
I guess to be modest, not to not be modest. To be modest, to not be, like, I guess, promiscuous in a way. Which, I mean, regardless of, I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's just a way of conforming yourself to show that you're modest enough to. I think it's just like
go watch a movie from, like, that's portraying, like, the 1920s, 1940s, and let's say there's girls playing in the river or whatever. You will see that they're not wearing, like, a bathing suit. They're just probably in their undergarments.
No, but, like, they're like they're not, like, in a river. They're not in a pool. They're bathing. They're, like, washing themselves. But they're wearing those, like, white robe things.
I mean, it could depend on what's going on. It could be that it's like a group meeting or community thing where they are trying to be modest, or it could also be that they're within holy water, right? So it's like their way of...
I don't know. I just find it weird. I
find it funny that you're, like, stuck on seeing these nuns.
It's like, God damn it, I wanted bikinis.
No, not that. But, like,
bikini in a bikini.
They had a lot of, like... They had a lot of scenes where it was, like, in the bath, but they were, like, wearing...
Bro. You don't have to explain. We're not going to shame you here.
No, it's just weird, because, like, I don't know.
would love to see Sydney in a bikini. I mean, we all would.
Oh, my
it's okay.
God.
No, it's like a way of modesty. If there are other people that are viewing you, then you would want to be modest in them not to see you in that form. So that's why when they were showering her, when she, like, or washing off that blood, it was basically a way of them making fun of her in a sense, or
and kind of, like, embarrassing her and kind of like shaming her.
Yep, exactly, because when you are within other people viewing you, you want to be modest. It's like women who wear hijabs as well, right? Like they don't want men to look at them because they're there for modesty reasons, right? It's what you believe.
Yeah, like when
I just find it weird.
Like in our high school, we had a swimming pool, and like I was part of the gym class where we would swim. No, all I'm saying is like
it was just funny because we had a swimming pool, but we had like no swimming team.
No, yeah, but
I
like
had no swimming pool in my school.
but I'm just saying, like when I went to the shower, like every guy that had just been swimming, like all of us still kept our bathing suit. We still shower, but I'm sure like 10 years before that would have been the weird thing, Like I don't know. It's just I think it's also with the times, and again, it's just the community or your beliefs. So it just depends. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I just find it weird.
Bro, but anyway, I could explain it better.
no, yeah. I didn't have gym. I had JROTC. So
yeah, that's the problem.
We never got to use this pool.
You didn't bathe with the guys, so you're confused. I get it.
Nope.
You're confused.
Yes. Yeah, I'm confused. But anyway, back to that one girl that was all intense and ended up like, killing herself. Dude, like honestly, I think she played her role like really well because she was kind of like she was really intense. You could tell that she was like very devout and she was very strict, and you could tell that she didn't like Cecilia. Kind of off the bat, and she was kind of like stuck with them, and then they were kind of stuck with her until like she was the one that got that conceived the baby, and then it was just jealousy, and I always kind of like whenever they. So like to me, I have like huge respect for religion, and I think a big part of like religion is kind of like following what the religion is supposed to be about. So whenever they steer away from that, especially if, like I grew up Catholic, so I understand that part of it. So whenever they steer away from that, kind of like her, where she just gets so jealous that she tries to kill her, kind of in a selfish way. Like I feel that at least to me it has a bigger impact. So I really liked how they did that whole part with her kind of just being a dick about everything, and then all the way to reverting to trying to kill her.
Because with her, it seems like they explained what was happening. They explained like, "Hey, we could choose you to do this," and for some reason, they probably did try it, but it just never like sometimes
it didn't take.
It didn't take, so she was upset about
that.
Which I
could so understand. Odd, where she was communicated with to say like, "Hey, we want you for this," versus Cecilia, who wasn't told, and they just did it.
Yeah, but I do think like you could technically, especially because these women, depending where you're getting them from, like you could probably convince them, especially because like if you're telling me you're holding something that contains the DNA from like Jesus, like I know I'll never be able to hear.
Unless God is coming to me personally and saying I'm putting this in you, absolutely not.
No.
I'm sorry.
And then it goes back to the small conversation. How do you know it's really God and it's not really a delusion?
Exactly.
True. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. At the end of the movie, it kind of turns into her killing everybody, and
dude, I wasn't expecting that. That was a big turn.
Well, I was just thinking like you chose this moment when you're like about to give birth to finally like stand up and like take everybody down. I'm like, you couldn't have done this when you were like 5 months pregnant.
See, I am going to argue with that and say I get it, because she was probably in such a heightened emotion with her hormones. Yeah. At that point, it was all or nothing for her, and she was all adrenaline.
When you're pregnant.
You're right. There's more testosterone. You're more of a man.
I'm joking.
This is why we need. I get it. This is why we needed a woman, Sylvia, to explain these things to us.
Well, you see, I mean, the way the body works.
Oh,
tell me.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Oh my god.
I'm totally kidding.
Go over it with me. Should we like put out a diagram too?
Oh my god.
Let me mansplain this to you real quick.
I would love that. Please do.
Raul's recording from the state of Georgia, where a lot of these things are more common, so it's conversations.
What?
I feel like she was more willing to conform from the start, and even during her pregnancy, until she basically her water broke, and at that point her hormones and just her adrenaline, everything that she's been feeling, she said all or nothing, and she just went for it. So I don't blame the movie for making it happen then, when she just went all out. She started killing people, she burned the priest, she's fought with him and all of that, because yeah, in a sense she is in such a heightened emotion state that I feel like that would happen if it came down to it.
No, I mean, I would never mess with a pregnant woman that long that she's about to like give birth, like never in my life.
No, and honestly, my biggest surprise is that it kind of took her so long to get to that point, because of like everything that happened up to that point, because the hormones don't start kicking in when you're 9 months pregnant. Like they kind of start from the start.
Yeah.
But remember, she tried to leave with the chicken.
Oh yeah, she tried to run away.
They took her back, and then they burned her feet, so she couldn't even move at that point, right? Because she's in a lot of pain. So once it kind of started to heal up, and it got to more of that end moment where, you know, there was so much that was happening, I think that's when she finally got her strength, because she did try to do something beforehand.
Yeah. Go ahead, Aaron.
Do you guys think that the spike was like the real one, or do you think it was kind of like they just thought that it was?
Well, that's what Sylvia was saying. Like, you know, even if, or you were saying actually, like, I think you were just legitimately setting that point that even if I came to you and said that to you, like, there's no guarantee that you know 100%.
That's kind of what that's what faith is. Like, there's no way to know anything's 100%, and that's kind of when you have faith. But like it kind of makes you wonder, because I think it wouldn't make a difference if it was real or not. But I think I'm glad that they didn't. They implied that it was a real one, but they don't really go too far into it to show like the certificate of authentication or anything like that. So it's because I still kind of wonder in this movie like if that was a real one or not.
And yeah, you'll never know, because obviously there was no DNA being done at that point in time. So it's even nowadays people are trying to say, oh, well, we figured out the blood type that he would have had, this or that. But how? Because we don't have any physical form of knowing. It could have been anyone. For all you know, you could have been having a child with like a servant that was there at that point.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what the DNA is.
Yeah, or like a random mummy or something, or whatever it was.
Yeah, Cleopatra's
what?
Cleopatra.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons to, like, again, going just before we move on, because we do have another movie that we're going to talk about. That's the one thing I
we do?
Like
that's a movie?
Yeah, we do it. I feel like that conversation is going to be very short. But that's the thing I like about The First Omen in that movie, Sylvia, when they're trying to give birth to the Antichrist, you know it's legitimately going to happen, because the way they're doing it is they're having a jackal make love to these women with them being drugged, not knowing that a jackal's like coming in and like having intercourse with them. And then
well, not really like jackal, it's like demon type of thing.
It's a jackal.
It's the devil.
It's a jackal. Look it up.
I was gonna have to cut this, but I was gonna say this is like P. Diddy.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
You tell me if I should cut it off after the recording. But yes, let's move on to the next movie. Let's move on.
We lost Sylvia.
Oh man, I'm back. Yeah.
And I'm really counting on you, Subia, to lead the discussion on.
Oh my god!
For I saw the TV Glow. Yeah.
Oh my.
I feel like the movie itself had a lot that was going on with it. I feel like if it had half an hour more, they could have fleshed out things a little bit more, because when we do really think about the movie itself as a whole, it's meant to be about two people who are not within societal norms, because both of them are, you know, you have Owen, who wants to more so be more feminine, and then you have Maddie, right? Was that her name?
Yeah.
Maddie, who likes women, right? But the difference between the two, which I feel like this was the general concept of the movie, is that Owen conforms in a sense of he's still in the real world, he's still doing everything that he's meant to be doing to be normal, while Maddie leaves and she disappears, and she's saying that she was back in Pink Opaque or whatever, like that's where she was. But she's still trying to hold on to her childhood because she doesn't want to either open up or conform. And I feel like that was the general movie theme.
Yeah. You know what? I actually have to like applaud your description you just said, but I do have to wonder, like, did you do any research to come up with that conclusion, or was this all on your own right now?
So slightly. I wanted to look at who the director was, and I wanted to understand kind of what brought it about, and I found that the director was transgender.
Correct.
And when they were trying to create the movie, that's when they were in the process of kind of transitioning, but they were also mentioning how they were within like a suburban home, suburban family, so it was difficult for them to either say something or move towards that point. So I feel like those two characters were a description of their options that they had almost, where it was to conform or to maybe disappear in a sense, because they didn't want to conform and everything was too much. But then obviously we have them, they didn't conform, they didn't disappear, they believed in themselves and they moved towards, transitioning, and now they are considered female, I believe, correct?
They go by she and her. The director?
Yes, they go by she and her pronouns, and, that's great that they were able to make that transition and feel comfortable, but that's kind of where I got my description of the movie. I kind of wanted to understand what was going on.
No, I'm glad you said that. So I'm gonna, right off the back, I'm gonna take responsibility for us watching this movie because, again, I have a way where I listen to reviews and I listen to like what people are saying when a movie comes up. And after I watched this movie, I went back and, I went back to those reviews that I saw over the summer. I went back to those people that were saying in June, like praising the movie, because I was watching this movie with my wife and I was kind of like, gosh darn it, did I mess up? Why did I make Raul and Sylvia watch? Because they're going to hate me after this movie's over because, I was not resonating with it and I wasn't really understanding what was happening. And I think after I watched the movie and I saw a little bit more of, like you said, quotes directly from the director about what the movie's meant to be, seeing what people at the time thought about the movie. And it's like, of course, when you look at it from that perspective, a story about these characters that they don't want to be who they are, but they have to because society won't accept them if they try to be somebody else. But by them choosing not to follow the path that could actually make them happy, they make themselves misery and they never really get to enjoy who they really could have been. I'm like, that freaking makes sense. So that almost brought me to like a whole different perspective of this movie where I almost did feel like maybe on a second rewatch, like I would catch more of these things and it would make more sense. Because like right away when you meet Maddie, that was my first thought. I'm like, oh, I wonder what I wonder why he's resonating with her so much because she's kind of like a tomboy, and like later on she makes it clear that like, hey, I'm only into girls. But again, like I feel like now I have a better understanding that maybe on my second watch I would get this movie. And this movie, again, the reviews are all fairly positive for this movie. I'll check the Rotten Tomatoes score right now for it. But I think this movie, it could be a situation where there's this movie, Sylvia, that you might have heard, you might not, Ro, definitely you will, but Donnie Darko, that came out in the early or late 90s, early 2000s. And if you watch it even today, you're like, what did I watch? Why? But it's just, that movie itself, it's so popular. And you can never really, people have tried to make a really good explanation of it, but it's a cult classic. And I think this movie could also become a cult classic where maybe right now we're not going to be able to say the most positive things about it. But I think in 10 years, this movie's still in the conversation. We're going to look back and be like, you know what, let me give that a chance, because maybe at the time I just couldn't really put the pieces together. But I think this movie's saying a lot, and I was ignorant enough not to hear it. So I feel like I messed up as I was doing my watch the first time.
So I did no research on this. And when I saw this movie, I thought it was like so fucking weird. Like I think that's more of the like artistic choice of like how they made the movie. Like I understand, like not after you explained everything about the kind of how it kind of reflects possibly some of the like I guess some thoughts that the creator might have thought or whatever, but like I think that would have been valuable to have known. before I saw the movie, or if it would have been incorporated somehow or a little bit more obvious, because throughout the whole thing it was so fucking weird.
It was
Like
confusing. Yeah.
it in some ways, because I think I told Sylvia before, in our 1 hour meeting before we started recording, that you weren't in, Carlos. I mentioned that it kind of reminded me of Requiem for a Dream, because
Mm.
it was trippy, but like I feel that with Requiem for a Dream, it's more obvious. It's kind of like the whole drug part of it. It's kind of like the delusions or whatever.
Yeah,
But
the
in
mom
this,
definitely, specifically the mom. Yeah.
yeah, like in this one, kind of the way that they do it is kind of like it feels like more of a choice, but like a very abstract choice, where it's very open to interpretation, and it's more of a, like, you either like it or you don't.
Yeah.
I with the context that you put it in, it totally makes so much more sense. And it was kind of interesting too, because the girl that plays Maddie, like, I saw her in the other show, where she has a brother that's on the spectrum. I forgot the name of the show. Um, but like, I knew her from that, and it was kind of cool seeing her in this different type of person. Like,
Typical.
yes, atypical, in this type of character,
Yeah.
because Justice Hill, or what's his name, Justice something, the actor that plays the dude. I
Yeah.
thought that he did a really good job. I thought that they both made like a really good job in portraying these characters, but it was so weird, and it was like it was very hard to kind of understand what the point of it all was, besides like some sort of artistic abstract choice. But I didn't kind of get the through line, like, until you explained a lot of what you explained. Then everything kind of clicks, but it didn't hit me at the time, and it just seemed super fucking weird to me
Yeah.
when I saw it.
Well, I do feel like this movie is tailored to like towards me and you, Rocco, because we grew up in the time where it was like the '90s and Goosebumps,
Yeah.
and You're Alone, Afraid of the Dark, and
You're acting like I wasn't born in the 90s.
I mean, you were still, baby Sylvia in
You're
the
Gen
cradle.
Z.
Okay.
We're millennials.
I'm a millennial.
Are you millennial?
Yes.
Yes, we've talked about this a lot of times, but with us, I feel like when I was growing up, and I was telling my wife like I'm so glad that when I was growing up, my parents never told me what I couldn't watch or I could watch, because God, I would have hated like my life growing up if my parents were like, "You can't stay up late. What are you watching? Turn that off. You can only play video games for like an hour." Like I'm so grateful that I never dealt with that, but I also could see
They
myself
let us play
feeling.
10 hours of video games.
Dude, for real. But like I could also see myself as the character, where it's just like
Yeah.
he's talking about like how his parents look at him a certain way because he's different. It's almost like, to me, like that's where I kind of felt like I was agreeing with the movie, where it's like I sort of felt like that as a little kid, where maybe my dad is like, oh man, like this is my son, like because my son's one of those people. My father's one of those people that he's a mechanic. He can fix this. He's always been a great father, but it's just like I've always, and this is probably like childhood drama, but I always felt like I could never live up to his shoes, especially because in the beginning I was more into like video games and cartoons, and obviously I love anime even today. So it's just one of those things like, oh man, I kind of feel like like him, because like his parents are looking at him kind of weird because he likes all these weird things, but it's just like sometimes when you're a child, you just like weird things, and there's really no explanation for it. It's just something that either you're gonna go outgrow or you're just gonna continue to adore as you keep growing. So it's just, I don't know. That's where I felt, as I was watching this movie.
I will say that in this movie, like that one show, like I could see myself being into a weird show like this when I was a teen, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like because I don't know, like I feel like late night TV was just weird in general back in the day.
Robot Chicken.
Anyway.
Adult Swim, yeah,
Oh
Adult
yeah.
Swim, man. That's what it reminded
Yeah,
me of.
Adult Swim, or even just like random ass like shows, like super low budget shows or whatever. Or because yeah, even Power Rangers was like kind of weird. But not to the extent of this show, but kind of the a lot of the scenes that they showed. I don't know. It was interesting, but I don't know. It just the whole concept of kind of I
Like,
I'm really conflicted about this movie, but I just kind of wish that I would have gotten more context like ahead of time to kind of see the deeper meaning instead of just being confused.
Well, like for example, Maddie was obsessed with this, like the Pink Opaque show. Like, Sylvia, is there anything that you can relate? Because I was saying to my wife, I think if I like, because I love so many things. Like, I just like overall, like whether it's movies, anime, cartoons, like I love so much stuff. But I was saying, I'm like, if I really think about it, I think I could sit here and like try to talk to you for the next 5 hours about something that I really truly love. And I was thinking about like what could that be? And it's, for example, like Star Wars. Like if I really like compress my mind into it, you could sit in front of me and I could run you through so much Star Wars crap. And I still feel like I'm not the expert on the Star Wars, but I just feel like I could be like her, get obsessive about something and learn so much about it that I could kind of be like, man, this guy's really into like whether it's Power Rangers or whatever. Like, is there something like that, like you growing up, that you feel like you could talk to me and Raul about it, and you just know so much where me and Raul might look at you a little bit like, man, this girl just knows way too much about Saved by the Bell.
Oh yeah, Saved by the Bell. No, for me, honestly, it was probably Naruto because I think I'm coming up to my 4th or 5th rewatch of the whole show again from Naruto and Shippuden.
Dude, I've only rewatched it twice.
Yeah, so I grew up with just regular Naruto still coming out like at 10:30 p.m. And I remember asking my parents, because I was too young to stay up that late, if I could stay up later to watch it. But that's a show that that and Teen Titans, like the regular Teen Titans,
the regular ones,
those two, even X-Men actually, those 3 shows I have rewatched so many times that I feel like I could talk about it all day, but especially Naruto, I feel like I could just sit down and be like, no, let me tell you everything that I'm thinking. And every time I rewatch it, I feel like I come out with something new or something different that I'm thinking about. But I love that you said that whole portion about your own dad with him being a contractor or a handyman or all of that stuff, because Fred Durst was the father in this movie, right? I think
yeah, I mean, he's an actor. He's been in other movies.
But I think the casting of that was perfect, because you would think that, especially in that time too, he wouldn't accept his son. But then you see him trying to pull him out of the TV. Like, he still wanted him to be there. So I think it was a small second that we get to see their relationship, because he made it seem like he did not like him at all.
Yeah.
But we see that small second of, he does care about him. He might not show it the best way, but he cares about him.
And I was waiting for that turn. I was waiting for him to, like, all of a sudden, like, we have this mentality, like, this is the kind of dad he is, and all of a sudden, like, we were going to get him, like, and maybe there is, like, something that got cut in when they were putting the movie together, but I was expecting him to be, like, a dialogue of, like, him being like, no, son, like, ever since the mom, like, I need you or whatever, and kind of sad that didn't happen, but again, you just telling me that does kind of, because that's what I felt like. I'm like, okay, you're
silent but stoic. He's rescued him, and he was there for him.
You're validating what I thought when I was watching that scene, so thank you for that.
Yes, Raul.
So honestly, I took it way differently. So I kind of took it in the sense of, like, everyone in this world was kind of like not like they were all part of the simulation, kind of like in the Matrix or even in Inception, where like everyone else was there to like keep him there. So when he did that, it was kind of him like holding him back.
But he was keeping himself there.
I didn't see it in any way as him like actually caring or trying to like.
Because when Manny was trying to like run away, what did he do? He went straight to like that one friend he was having to sleep over and told the mom like, "Hey, for the past couple of months, I've been lying on my dad. You need to like tell my dad so he can ground me." So he himself didn't want to wake up from this reality. Or
that's totally true. But like I saw like the dad as kind of like one of these like control, like one of these barriers, kind of like trying to keep him into this, like in this prison. The what do they call him? The melancholy or whatever.
The moon.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Moon
Yeah. Yeah, the moon man.
So weird.
And trigger warning for a few people in regards to life, but or I guess suicide in a sense. But for me, what I got from that is because his dad pulled him away, regardless of him saying something or not, it wasn't him pulling him back from his dreams or what he wanted to do. I think he genuinely wanted to help him, and that was his way of saying, like, I approve. No matter what, I approve type of thing. Meanwhile, you have Maddie, who ran away. No one tried to hold her back. No one tried to save her. And then when you have those last few minutes of her with Owen, you have the whole situation of her trying to take him into the pink opaque, right?
Yeah.
And him being like, no. And we have a different scene with Owen at the end, but I'm strictly going to focus on Maddie and how he said he never saw her again. And to me, that was a depiction of she probably unalived herself, in a sense of she didn't feel like she was able to conform, and she didn't have that backing of thinking she could show herself and who she truly is. Meanwhile, Owen, we have him at that party. He screams, he yells, he goes into the bathroom, he cuts himself open basically, and you have like that static coming out of him.
Yeah.
And to me, that was like, all right, now this is his choice. Does he want to come out and be who he is? Because we see him wearing dresses and we see him showing and depicting that he does not feel right in his body. He would feel better in a different body, right? The best way to say it right now, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like now he's getting the decision, because he almost knows that whether he has the backing or not, he did have people that wanted to keep him there, and Maddie didn't. So that's what I got from that whole kind of portion of that movie.
No. Can I put my name on your thoughts, and can we turn in the paperwork together? And okay,
the group project.
Just don't copy it word from word. If you could change a few words.
No. But I will say, like, I did like kind of the ambiguity on what's reality and what's not. I thought I really, really enjoyed that part of it, because especially when Maddie came back, and then she was explaining like the whole thing about like burying herself and all that stuff. Like it kind of made me wonder, like, is she really back? Is this whole thing like a delusion that they're having? And then she's kind of like the devil on his shoulder, trying to get him to like kill himself in one way or another. So like it's kind of like the Babadook, or like some of these other things that kind of make you wonder, like, what's the bigger meaning in this, or what's this supposed to represent? And at the time, not knowing kind of some of the background of the director and the people that created the movie, I kind of saw it as it's some kind of a symbol of like some sort of mental something, whether it's depression, whether it's some sort of situation where teens don't really know how to conform, or kind of like societal norms and stuff like that. And then you have Maddie that's in this situation that she says, like, oh, I already did this and it's going to be fine, so you should come bury yourself as well. Which would kind of get to a situation where he's like suffocating. But she's also explaining that like that's the real life, and then you're currently trapped here, and you kind of see through time that he's already kind of suffocating. So I love the symbolism with that, but like it's hard to get around how confusing the movie is. But they had so many good symbols and so many good situations that I just kind of wish that they would have done it a little bit differently, that it would have portrayed all these messages and all these symbols a lot better, because for so much of that movie I was so confused.
But I think, when I was comparing, like saying like, oh, this is another long day situation, I think it's another one of those where you watch the movie again and you can pick up more because now you have a better understanding. And sometimes, like, some movies are, whether, doesn't mean that just because you came out of it and you didn't pick all these things up means that you're like a dummy. It just means that this movie earns your respect for you to go back and rewatch it, because then now you'll be able to catch more, and it's just appreciate it more. And it's just like, how much stuff did I miss by not, everything you guys are saying is making sense to me. Like, everything about it is giving me like a new perspective on it, where like, I know I'm not going to go to my way to watch it tonight, but I'm proud that I watched this movie. I'm proud that I can talk about it. I'm proud that if people bring it up in a conversation, like, I am specifically going to know, like, be able to be part of that conversation. I think this movie does offer a lot, so I don't want to diminish what it's doing, but it's just like, again, it's so weird. A lot of people, I could 100% agree that people that saw this in the movie theater a lot of them probably came out being like, what did I just watch? And it's confusing, bro. It's confusing.
So I'm glad that we do this, because like, one, I don't know if I would have watched this movie. Like, I did see that it was like recommended for me, but then like I didn't watch it, and then if it wasn't for the podcast, like I wouldn't have watched it. But now that I did watch it, I was so confused. But now that we talked about it, honestly, I feel a lot better about it, and I get a lot more of the context. and just kind of talking about it kind of helps. So it's one of those movies that watching it and then learning more about the context of the movie and then actually talking to other people about it and kind of figuring out more of what you think about it and what other people think about it, specifically because it's very complex and there's a lot that you probably didn't think about because people relate to different parts of this movie that I think it kind of helps to just discuss it.
You know, one of my favorite parts of the movie was towards the end where he says about how like the Pinko Pig can be streamed now and he can watch the episodes, and he watched it and it was just so like
different.
now what he remembered it to be. And I was telling my wife like, yeah, that's something that like I think I run into the trouble of that, remembering something from my childhood and thinking like, oh my God, that was great. It had so much depth. The action was amazing. It was just way ahead of its time. But then if you take the leap of faith and like do go back and watch it, you're like, crap, like
never
this
the
is
same.
not
Yeah.
at all what I expected. And some things do hold up. Spider-Man 95, X-Men, like Batman, the animated series, like yeah, but there are things where like I think I even when Gargoyles was on Disney Plus, I think I watched like the first maybe 2 episodes and I wasn't feeling it. And I think I stopped watching it because I was like, crap, if I just keep going this, is this show not going to be how I remember it?
It's going to ruin your childhood.
Yeah, it's going to ruin my childhood because like all of a sudden I'm going to find out shit, like Gorgos wasn't as deep as I remember it being. But again, I haven't rewatched it completely for me to actually make that claim. But it's just like I'm scared. Like I know everybody says Space Jam, the first one, it's trash, doesn't make any sense.
No,
it's a horrible movie.
I
don't know. Because I refuse to go watch it because I don't want that bubble to burst in my imagination that it was such a great movie.
I've seen it again. It still holds up to me.
Okay.
And I do like how you mentioned the Pinko Pig finally, or opaque, because I feel like that's a part of the movie we kind of glazed over for a little bit, and I know we're kind of running out of time too, so I don't want to fully flesh it out, but I think there were a lot of contrasts between the Pinko Pig versus them, where it was more of a spiritual connection within the TV show, and then their connection was obviously more of a human physical connection. And even when they weren't able to see each other and hang out with each other, she was still giving him the tapes to continue watching it. But it almost felt like she was kind of trying to pull him into that more spiritual field, and he was still trying to keep himself a little bit more conformed. So I feel like that was interesting between the two different parts that we see of them being the humans of what they're watching versus the Pinko Pig being the TV show that they watch.
You know, when I was young, my parents, there was times where like they just chose not to have cable because the Spanish shows you didn't need cable to like watch them. So for example, I wanted to see Dragon Ball Z because they were getting to the part where, you know, Goku was going to turn into Super Saiyan 3. So I would have to go to my friend's house to watch Dragon. But I could always tell that he just wasn't into it as much as I was. So I felt like Maddie were like kind of like where I had to go to a friend's house, force him to watch this thing that I could tell he was just not on board with it as I was. But it's just kind of like, it sucks, man. Like it sucks when you're in that situation that you can't watch something that you really want to watch, and then you go to somebody and your friend himself is just not vibing with it. So
no, I will say that's probably one of the things that I struggled with the most is because like they tried to explain how this show worked, the Pinko Pig.
Oh yeah,
like within the movie, and it was so fucking weird. It, like the man on the moon and psychic powers, and one's like a demonologist, and this whole thing. But like I kind of get it, but like I think that just kind of added to the confusion. I think if they kind of took away all the lore of the show and kind of no, but just kind of like explained.
Because something I found funny is they were talking about how like the girls don't ever really are with each other because they live on opposite states.
Yeah.
And then like there's an episode like in a certain point of the movie he's watching the pilot and the girls are together, and I was kind of like, wait, I thought they weren't supposed to be like together because
they see each other spiritually.
Yeah, no, but that was the
pilot.
Sleepaway
Camp. That's when they met together.
But that was the pilot, so that's when they actually met. So I was like, oh shit, like yes, I thought that was kind of like cool. I'm like to myself.
And it seemed like the people from the Pinko Pig, they didn't have to conform into society.
They weren't from the Pinko Pig, they were the Pinko Pig. I'm kidding.
Yeah. but
I'm kidding.
Well, moving on from that,
We
Raul,
lost it.
now
We're
that
moving on to the game part.
well, hold on. I do want to ask Raul one question, and I don't want us to say which movie is better and like give that 30-second feel because I feel like both of you will probably say Immaculate. I actually kind of enjoyed. I saw the TV glow a little bit better.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But Raul, now you knowing the background of maybe the movie, and maybe I shouldn't have gone first and kind of explained what the movie was about and seen what you would have just said raw more so than what I had said. But does it change your view on the movie now that you're thinking about it?
It honestly, it really does because like before, I think I mentioned already. Like before, I knew all the context around it. It was just confusing. It was really confusing. It was weird. And to me, it was just kind of like a very artistic, like abstract choice of how they did the movie. But knowing more of the context kind of makes the movie make more sense to me. And then, but it also kind of stays complex, which kind of still leaves it open to interpretation. And like I'm a big fan of art, so like I'm big on like trying to figure out like what they might have been thinking and also kind of like what it means to you and that whole part of it. So it definitely it's helped to know more of the stuff and I think of it more fondly now just because I'm more interested in it. So like I honestly I might watch it again at some point and kind of especially knowing everything and then kind of seeing how I feel about it after I watch it again. But that's assuming that I get to it because I have a long list of things I need
we
to
actually
watch.
had I'm kind of, again, not to honk our own horns, but I'm proud of the conversations we've had with two movies that going into this episode, I thought it was like, damn, this is going to be where
it's going to be
weird
weird
this is going to be
discussion.
the shortest episode we ever have.
Yeah, in my head, I'm like this, but we're actually having very like thoughtful, deep conversations about these topics. So like, yeah, no, I'm hoping in the future, we can accomplish the same thing because, and so I'm glad you both are saying that you enjoy.
Let's do Requiem for a Dream. I'm gonna...
I just feel like with this movie, with the career that I do have, I knew something wasn't sitting right with me. And I typically never look at directors and why they would have made certain choices. But when I watched this movie and seeing how Owen was feeling and then Maddie, I just had to look it up a little bit. And I just looked up the director because I wanted to understand what they were trying to portray. And I think if I didn't do that, maybe I wouldn't have understood the movie as much as I did. But I saw Owen, like the little details of him wearing the dress and then her telling him like, I don't like boys, I like girls, and him saying, I just like TV. So to me, it was kind of like, okay, well, maybe he's asexual or maybe he feels like he wants to transition. So to me, I always like to be very gentle with these topics because obviously they're going through a lot. So I just wanted to look it up. And I feel like that's why once I looked it up after the movie, I was kind of like, okay, now I understand what's kind of going on.
No, and like I should be the last person to ever comment on any of this stuff, and like didn't know the movie was even about this. So again, coming into this, so I think the way you handle the conversation or stirred it in the right direction, like I'm glad you're here because it's easy to say the wrong things. But I think
glaze over it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, myself too. I haven't been part of these types of issues or situations, within my life, and you guys probably aren't either. But I have my clients and I have the people that I work with that kind of open me to that. So I always like to do my fair diligence for them and make sure that they get their full story across. So that was kind of my basis on this movie, and that's why you said make it second. I was like, oh, I can't wait to blow you away, Carlos.
Ooh, no, this has been great. Now I'm ready for that game you got. I know we're running late, but let's do it.
Yeah, so a game pretty much the same from last week. I'm going to give you a description of a movie that's going to be a little bit
it's a jackal
misleading. Okay. So hopefully you'll still be able to guess from the misleading ones. So some of these movies I haven't watched. Hopefully you guys have watched them. I feel like you probably have. But some of the movies that I have watched, even I was kind of like, okay, it's a little bit of a misleading description. I don't know if I would guess it. So
okay, let's go.
All right, hold on. Let me keep score here.
I got my pen.
As always,
I got my pen and paper.
All right.
I have this.
All right. First description. Everyone tries the ice bucket challenge.
Is it
Oh
my god, what is the Disney movie with the superheroes throw?
Disney
Incredibles?
movie?
No,
What?
Incredibles? No, not the Incredibles. Is it
Everyone
Frozen?
everyone
Frozen?
tries the ice bucket challenge. It is
Like,
not an animated movie.
oh man.
It's actually like
It's
a
Titanic?
classic movie. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking, like, what movie does it involve cold and people in the water?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Next one is older sister ruins younger sister's chance to appear on television.
Older
Ooh,
sister.
this seems, yeah, I feel like I've seen this movie.
Appear on television. Oh my god. It's so broad.
An older sister ruins the younger sister's chance to appear on television.
Do you have clues for us if we can't get it right away?
My clue is this is a series, so there's multiple movies for this.
Oh.
And they were books.
Television. Sheesh. Another clue?
The main actress was also an X-Men.
An X-Men.
The Hunger Games?
Oh
Yes.
no.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, I see it.
Because
Oh my god.
Katniss
Yeah.
volunteered for her sister.
Oh my
Mhm.
god. Great
Wow.
one.
Wow. Interesting
Dude,
description.
This would make a good party game.
Party game, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. After losing his father, a young boy joins a hippie group and becomes a vegan.
And becomes a vegan.
Is it The Lion King?
Yes.
Yeah, The Lion King.
Oh no, he doesn't eat bugs.
Yeah.
And but what you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay. A guy learns to love a girl without her Instagram filters.
With what?
Without her Instagram filters.
This
isn't necessarily in regards to Instagram filters.
I know.
He just learns to
Aladdin?
love her.
Is it Twilight?
Mm-mm.
Aladdin?
Mm-mm. It is an animated movie. Also
Shrek.
a series, yes.
Damn, that's a good pull. Bro.
Yeah.
For Ty.
Paranoid billionaire, afraid of immigrant.
Fuck.
I don't know why I want to say Batman.
Is that Aladdin?
You're on the right track.
Oh.
So Carlos, you knowing that because you said Batman, I'm not going to let Raul answer right now.
Okay.
Oh.
You knowing that it's going to be Batman.
Oh
Is in
no!
it.
I know
Paranoid
this.
billionaire, afraid of immigrant.
Bruce Wayne?
I know this.
I don't know. Bruce Wayne?
No.
What is
Raul?
it?
Iron Man.
No, he was right
No.
with Batman. It does have Batman. It's
What?
a versus.
Oh, Batman versus Superman.
Yes.
Oh, we're talking
But
about
Age of Ultron also kind of comes into play because he's scared of aliens coming back to invade again.
No, I get it. Yeah.
This one you guys are going to get quickly, I feel like. Leonardo DiCaprio wanders a frozen wasteland in search of an Oscar.
Oh, the Revenant?
The Revenant.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Revenant.
The Revenant. Carlos gets it.
Revenant. I said Revenant. Sorry, If you
No,
want to give me the
you
point,
got it,
thank
you
you.
got it.
You got it. I can remember the name of the movie.
Boy spends 7 years being a third wheel.
7 years?
Ooh.
7 years being a third wheel.
That's a specific amount of time.
Mm-hmm. It sure is. It's almost like that's how many movies there are.
Is it like For Real Boy?
Is it Avatar? The Last Airbender?
It is a movie.
I don't know why.
Is it like a boy, like a child boy?
Oh, when they started the movie, yes.
Harry Potter.
Yes.
Oh, nice. I was gonna say Boyhood or something.
So this movie I don't know, so I can't give you guys any hints. So if you don't, this is going to be worth 2 points.
Okay.
Ooh.
And if you guys don't get it, then we'll just move on.
Then
Americans finally bother to learn a foreign language.
Americans finally bothered to
learn a foreign. Whatever the Mohicans.
Dances
foreign
with
language.
I will at least look up one of the main actors.
Gangs
one of the main actors. Amy Adams is one of the main actresses.
Amy
as
Adams.
Dr. Banks.
Dr. Banks, damn. Like, it's
The
like,
butterfly
like
effect?
I feel like you just made Amy Adams.
Wait. Is that Amy Adams in the butterfly
No,
effect?
no, that's Elizabeth Smart or something smart.
No, that's not Elizabeth Smart.
Something smart.
Who's Amy Adams?
Amy Adams from Superman.
Oh, okay. Foreign language.
They're talking about the alien talks. The
Arrival.
one with the Arrival.
Arrival, yeah.
No,
I love that movie.
Can we share the point? I kind of got you there, and I knew it was Arrival after you.
Okay, okay, we'll do 1 point each. You know what? I'll give Raul 2 points, you 1 point. How's that?
Okay, that's fair.
So now you guys are both at 5.
That
Jimmy
helped.
Renner's in it too.
We're gonna do one last one.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and make this one a little bit. Okay. Drug addicted girl takes advantage of a mentally challenged boy for 3 decades.
3 decades?
Say that again.
Drug addicted
girl takes advantage of mentally challenged boy for 3 decades.
That's 30 years.
Do the math. Get your calculator out.
1 decade is 10 years. So 3 decades. Drug addicted
10 times 3.
girl.
Yeah, I need a.
This is a classic.
Doesn't help.
For 3 decades. Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Oh my God! You kind of took it.
Earl wins.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fun.
You were
man.
doing really good, Carlos.
I know. Without alcohol,
getting
my brain was able to work a little better.
What do you mean? We don't drink.
What is that about?
What's that?
I don't have that. This is my drink. Pumpkin spice protein
But
shake.
that was my game. So Raul is now a 2-time winner. Next week, maybe I'll do it one more time. So he'll either take the triple crown or
my God.
you'll take him out.
All right, sounds good. Maybe we'll have a conversation before the.
Yeah, and I'll give him all the answers so she can jot them down.
This way we
I
can
keep
do another.
winning because Sylvia and I are one, so it's like I
beforehand.
just know what the answers are.
We give you a second to come up with it, but we just mentally.
Yeah.
But we are pink opaque, so we just
In
like
the spiritual plane,
Nice.
Well, thank you for watching, everybody. I think that's it for tonight, huh?
Yeah.
I guess.
Have a good night, guys. Talk to you.
Bye.
Bye.